Good evening. How are you doing, people? Hope these are all good and all that stuff. So, I wasn't going to come on, and then I was going to come on. So, I'm probably going to ramble as usual, just because I feel like it. And the world and people are a wee bit annoying. And before I even start, I'm going to address this whole aspect of negativity and all that stuff. Sometimes when I present, I like to ramble and shout a wee bit and highlight absurdities and whatever else, but it doesn't mean that I'm negative and depressed and all that stuff, right? If you're not looking at the world, people, their mindsets, their psychology, what they acquiesce to, what they accept, what they comply with, if you're looking at all that and you're no pissed off, then I might think that you're dead inside. And that should be more concerning than a Scottish guy with a skinhead and tattoos shouting, swearing at a screen. Where shall I begin? I'll say hello, in fact, first. Hello there. We'll have to watch later eating a family meal. It's not good enough, Steve. If you're not watching me live, don't bother. Right? You're no supporter if you're not watching it live. How dare you? How dare you spend quality time with your family rather than sit staring at a screen to some Scottish guy shouting and swearing? You better get your priorities sorted out, son. Boris Chirps, Flyer Banner, John Watson, P900 Cool Picks, One Man He's Detector, EB, No Story Now, yes they very much are, TP in a Tree, Ben McCarthy, John Watson, Logan Star Paula, Grissu, Rickus Vaticus, how you doing? No, the fire's not on yet. Not yet. It managed to creep above 10 degrees today, so summer holidays. No accepting calls covered, nobody phones. And the majority of people do phone are jumped up, snotty nosed little fucking posh twats. Zealots for an idiotic religion. Right, I'm tired of listening to your fucking shit patter. You've got nothing to offer me. You know fine well that I know the globe inside out. And that I always invite you to come and have a chat with me in a discussion. Knowing fine well that I'm going to tear apart your idiotic reasoning and highlight the absurdity that is the belief in the globular earth concept. I don't like speaking to faceless potatoes. You can come and join me, or I can see your ugly wee face and watch you squirm in your seat. Where shall I begin? Let me see. Let me just get my bearings here. I need more tea. Devil knows Earth's a globe, that's right. The Earth's a total absurdity and I'm here psyoping you. I'm here psyoping you with common sense, direct realism. I've got Masonic tattoos, so who do you trust? Do you trust them? You shouldn't be looking to trust anybody. Why are people placing their trust externally? Which is probably a good place to start. Let's start with government. This childlike, not even childlike, retarded, backwards idea known as government. Nah, I'm not going to start there. I'm not warmed up enough to get the good profanities out yet. Wait till I get into second or third gear. Then we'll start on government. We'll start on the globe. Let's start on the globe. You'll like this. This appeared up. In fact, this was an email, actually. Let me just see here. This is brilliant. Quora. Right. Ooh, intellectuals, this is where you find the truth of stuffs. If you read Quora and you read it, it means you're intellectual and smart and stuffs. Andrew McLeish. Why don't flat earth explorers simply go to the edge of the earth and prove us all that it exists? Oh, for fuck's sake, Andrew, man, you are fucking really edgy. Bringing brand new, never heard material to the table. Right, so let's address Andrew's first idiotic sentence here. What do you mean by flat earth? Right, because I'm pretty sure it's the loaded term flat earth where you have a programmed notion or picture or image of what flat earth is, who flat earthers are the people that challenge the globe, who are usually labelled with the term flat earth. Which flat earth are you talking about? Culty boy? Simply go to the edge. Why are you invoking an edge? In this supposed statement of question, he's making an assertion to something that there must be an edge. That's his reasoning. That's in his assumption. Nobody I know claims that there's an edge. How would anybody know without the full exploration? And prove to us all that it exists. Bring me anybody that has claimed there is an edge to the earth. Again, this is all part of the predictive programming, the propaganda that goes on, that's been going on for a long time in regards to anybody that questions the globular earth model. Now again, this should be a warning sign for anybody that understands propaganda or the psychology of humans and how they're swayed and affected, that why something that would be objectively true would require so much of this misinforming people of doubters or skeptics. Why does that have to go on? Again, I always talked about the walk. Now, if people become a bit more versed in language and how to actually address, idiotic sentences like this and actually see what's going on, why don't flat earth? What flat earth? What people are you talking about? It's a generalised sweeping statement about nobody. About nobodies who don't ever make the claim that there's an edge. That's your assertion. In that supposed question statement, whatever it is, you're asserting that there's an edge. Again, people like Andrew are so fucking dumb. They don't even see the idiocy of the shit that they spew out there on Quora. Because of the international consortium of natives that patrols the seas, blah blah blah. Oh, talking about ice walls and it's ho 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 ho, the hilarity of people that think there's ice walls. Ho 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 ho. Well, people that think there's ice walls are much more logical, much more rational. Because that could be a possibility. Because we all know fine well that the waters of this area, pond, must have some sort of containment. Okay, that can be demonstrated to you through physics, through real world practicality. It can be demonstrated to you that standing bodies of water, unless they're flown away, must have some sort of containment. So, more on, but this is the best bit. This is absolutely phenomenal. Look, this is my favourite image that flatties have not been able to explain. Because idiot titrash here thinks that he's got some solid reasoning and some solid proofs. An image. Let's assess this image, shall we? Note, firstly, that the camera is levelled. The reason we know that it's levelled is because the horizon intersects the horizontal axis, the central horizontal axis of the picture frame. Anybody that knows photography, anybody that's ever studied any sort of art or perspective art or photography or any of these things knows that if your camera is perfectly levelled, the horizon will intersect the central horizontal axis of the picture frame. Now we must ask that dipshitterous Andrew McLeish here that thinks he's got globe earth proofsies. Why, Andrew, does the water appear to rise? Which is a geometric impossibility on a surface curving downwards from your feet 360 degrees around you. Why is it rising up, appearing to rise up into the centre of the field of view, Andrew? Also, Andrew, note straight line, straight line, straight line. Oh, but what's this just here? This straight line aligns with the bottom of these pylons. This straight line aligns with the top of these pylons up until this point. And then, lo and behold, we have curvature. Apparent curvature. So Andrew, in his inability to reason or assess anything, right, has missed a massive glaring fucking flaw. Straight line, straight line, straight line. Whoopsie, curves here. Again, what does Andrew think we're standing on? Does Andrew think we're standing inside dimples? And that everybody's inside a dimple? And that it all appears to be straight up until this thing that we call the apparent horizon, a visual phenomena, and then curves downwards from there. So it ramps up in front of you and then curves away. Andrew, just like the majority of idiotic, gullible, ignorant globe believers, is a complete and utter spastic. Just to reiterate this, for anybody that may be new to this, Andrew's showing power lines. Well, I'm doing it, like, so they need to be bigger and then they get smaller, right? So we get straight lines, get into the distance with a horizon. Right, so these lines align with the bottom and the top. Right. Then we get to a point here where it curves down. So a side-on view, right, and Andrew and the rest of the globe-tarded reality think that when they're standing here, there's a rise in the floor up like that and then it curves down like this. Because they're fucking retards. Absolute, complete and utter, ignorant fucking mongs. Every single one of them. It's getting really beyond a joke. The level of utter stupidity that comes out of these people. It's actually astounding. But it's not just that. It's the confidence in which they deliver stuff and present it up with this I'm intellect. They don't even realise how fucking retarded they are. Pickles my fucking brain. I'm not even going to bother breaking it down into, you know, the difference between optical, you know, geometry and tangible geometry and all that stuff. Right, we've said it enough. It's the same way the other the interview chat that myself and Gav partook in last week with Snafu Radio, who again, thanks for the invitation, it was a pleasure. But to read the comment section immediately after, we have just, gave our position, and we still get idiotic, straw man questions or statements. It just shows the level. I mean, obviously, because I don't watch mainstream TV, I don't watch the TV, I'm not sitting there getting brainwashed with fucking propaganda and rubbish. But these people obviously are. So it tells me that there's a real level, an upping of the propaganda. Because it's the same rhetorical garbage that's been regurgitated from these people. Andrew McLeish there is just one of fucking millions. Quite willing to open their mouth and let their belly rumble. You don't stand on top of a hill. Stand on top of a mound. And just note that the floor goes down. It doesn't go up in front of you and then curve down. And again, it's the labelling of flat earthers and this, that and the other. Time and time again, from day dot, I have made my position very clear. And again, let's talk about the master role. Because in any given situation, people that bring claims and assertions to you, right, they are the lackey. You are the master. As the master in the master's role, it's your position, it's your duty to ask the questions. Nobody, absolutely nobody on this plane experiences anything relatable to a globular earth. Nobody. So the starting position for every single person must be that you stand upon the level. From there, that's when you ask questions of claims and assertions being made to you. It's the strongest position. People say, prove you flat earth. I don't need to prove fucking diddly squat. I'm telling you my position. My position is my direct experience shows me nothing in any way, shape or form that would even remotely suggest that I'm standing on the exterior of an oblate spheroid. Nothing. And that's true for every other single person alive at this very moment. The burden is on those making the claims, particularly outlandish claims that are contrary to your experience. This other aspect, right, I've said this so many times before, see, unless you're going to come at me and you have some sort of certification from medical peoples that tell me that you're a multiple personality disorder, schizophrenic, whatever it may be, like Loganster, Pollard here. We have seen the globe. Who's we? It was the same when I had that other moron, sarcastic barman who continually referred to terminology of we, us, we. Talk about cult. Talk about groupthink. Circle jerking. You and I are individuals, unless of course you have got the psychological disability of a multiple personality disorder. You have no grounds to be using terminology like we and us. We've been to the moon. We've been to Mars and Neptune and Uranus and all that. You've not been anywhere. You've never left your mother's basement, son. Your mother's nipples are probably still bleeding. So don't talk about we. What that is a display of your zealotry. Your weak-minded cult mentality. Same as this other thing that I'm going to address right now. Flat earthers, people that deny the globe. Switch off your PC and your keyboard if you don't believe the earth's a globe. As if that means something. Every single practical application, every single piece of technology that you have, that you utilise, right, came from men and women who interacted directly with the reality, used their creativity and their imagination, and progressed technology. Not one single piece of these technologies were ever dependent upon, nor influenced by whether the earth was a globe or not. Anyhow. Exactly. Computers equals bending oceans. This is the, and they think that they're scoring points and winning. It's like, you know, they're so culty. It was the same as the guy, Sarcastic Barman, when I tried to explain to him, look, this is not a competition. It's not about scoring points. It's about having a rational discussion, laying out your rationale, your processes of how you come to conclusions. How many times afterwards did they say make statements like, "Oh, I'll give you that one"? Give me what one? Look, we're not playing, you know, darts. It's astounding for me, the inability to reason and have a reasoned discussion that globe zealots and the likes, no even people who are, you know, actively pushing a globe, the majority of the populace are so backwards in their ability to reason that it really boggles the mind. Which brings me on to government. And something that I've always struggled with since I was a child and asked the questions. What is this idea of authority? What is wrong with these, you know, unhinged adults assuming authority, trying to push themselves as some sort of authority or saviour or any form of authority? Where do they think they get that right? What drives them to want that? These are the questions I've always asked. But the biggest one, and the one that really bothers me, is why people acquiesce and allow it, and even partake in it. What is it you think you're going to gain from a government? First, you need to ask yourself the question, what role do you expect your government to fulfil? Because here's the thing for me, and it makes, you know, logical sense, that if we're going to agree to live in communities and societies and, you know, whatever else, then, you know, we all benefit from having, you know, running water, a road, a rail network, which in my mind, in my utopia maybe, would be so that we can connect and interact with each other and visit, experience each other's art and creativity and whatever else, right? Now for me, a government's role in that, which would be purely objective, would be to make sure that that small infrastructure is maintained and that every single one of us would contribute through manual labour to put it in place, to help to maintain it so that you and I and the generations after get the benefit out of that. Now for me, that's where it ends. That's it. But what we have now is it's become so complicated and so wrapped up in subjectivity. Again, it baffles the mind how it has been allowed to progress so far. Once you have a basic infrastructure and that's taken care of, what other necessity do you have to have a government? I would love to hear other people's thinking and reasoning about why they think it's a necessity. Can people not see how corrupt that it's got? That what you have is, once you've identified, an avenue for corruption or the ability to be corrupt, what type of people do you think are going to flock to that? Warm, loving, altruistic, easygoing people? No. The worst criminal mindsets that you could possibly imagine are going to flock to that. I can guarantee at some point they actually thought, wow, they are allowing this to happen. For me, it would be very, very simple. Right, prick. Do your duty. Maintain the infrastructure. And if you ever wander off, you're going to be hung. What do we have now? We've got conglomerates of, people who are affiliated with each other, lobbying to pass certain legislations and laws to allow them to further their agendas and push things and mould society into whatever their idea of what they think it should be is. Doesn't matter what city you go to now, what country you're in, it all looks the same. People again are scared of anarchy. This is what it always comes down to. Right? People are scared of criminality. While the worst criminals imaginable are in charge. And they've got a faulty notion of anarchy. Of being raped and murdered and pillaged. While the governments rape, murder, pillage. And even worse than that. There's a psychological attachment to it because of their fear of a natural order. As I said before, we could organise, a system for the infrastructure. And that's where it ends. The rest is subjective. Subjectivity finds its own equilibrium, where like minds flock to like minds and partake in, common interests, hobbies, art, craft, whatever it may be. That people are scared because they think that it's going to be lawlessness and probably aye. But again, let's look at lawlessness and law and policing and all these types of things. Again, people have got this, delusion that they think having governments, politicians, police and army somehow protects them from evil. I've lived now for 43 years. At any given point through those 43 years, I could have committed murder. I could have committed any one of these things that people are scared of. Would your government, the army, the police, the psychologists, the nurses, the doctors, the medical profession, would anybody have been able to stop me? No, they fucking well would not have. That should tell you something. Did I need a government? Did knowing that a government or the military or the police there, would that have stopped me? No. So for me, the majority of people are just like me. They've got the ability to self-reflect. They've got the ability to relate and assess and see what's acceptable. What do I prefer? What do I like? Well, I'm not going to partake in that because I know how it feels, yada, yada, yada. When we start to remove that natural language and that natural way of living, and we start to implement committees and these idiotic rules and laws and regulations, then how are we ever going to master or find any sort of equilibrium? When we're never allowed to interact freely with each other in order to establish a natural equilibrium. Do you see the animal kingdom requiring governments and committees? Or we're special. Are you fucking right? We're special. Just knowing the way you think you mean it. We're different. That's right. We're worse. We're more vicious than any fucking animal. Because we buy into these faulty nonsense ideas and concepts. Do you really think that people like myself living in communities would allow rape, murder and pillaging to happen? Do you really think that you have something that I want? Again, this is for people that watch too much fucking TV. The majority of people are just easy going. Live and let live. You just got a faulty perception of the human populace because you lend your attention to these fucking military devices. We have a basic understanding of a natural order, natural law, which is very, very simple. And again, this is the other aspect. I don't know why human beings need to complicate everything. The golden rule is simple. I don't fuck with you, and you don't fuck with me. If you do, or if I do, then for me, you're within your rights to defend yourself, protect yourself in any way, shape, or form. Just like any other animal out there. Yeah, but we're no animals, we're special, we're angels. We're God's chosen children and all that stuff. I guarantee you, God's scratching his head right now and going, I actually prefer the gazelle over the human. The human is a fucking moron. For me, it's about trying to find the natural equilibrium, natural language, natural way of living, and that comes through practical, lived life of direct interaction between peoples. Not dictated to by external committees, groups and cliques of wee fucking morons that are scared of everything. I think we all need to be controlled. Well, they push this narrative that we're all heathens and without government and all that stuff, that we're just going to descend into fucking murder and chaos and carnage. The only murder, chaos and carnage that I can see happening in the world is coming directly from your governments. How idiotic are you that you don't take control of your own faculty, that you think you're incapable, and that you need some external fucking figures to organise and shift and make sure that your life's the way you perceive. We see the natural language, the natural order, natural equilibrium being found. I can take my dog into any situation. Any situation. She's adjusted. She has her equilibrium. She understands the language. She's balanced. She recognises subtleties in the other animals and their language and their approach, and they sort it out between them. It doesn't descend into war, famine, torture, rape. None of that ever happens. But when you watch it and you go to these parks and you see these people with that mentality who have animals, who are way dumber than the animal could ever be, and they have their own leads and they're all tense and scared of everything. And they pass that on to their animal and fuck them up. How many times have you seen that in your life? But these people actually think that they're wholesome and good people because they're scared and victims. They don't realise how destructive that psychology actually is. The reason that my dog is so balanced is because she's been exposed to pretty much every scenario. From a young age, interacting. Again, which is why it's vastly important and why you see it with dogs in their litter. That they are not separated for up to 12 weeks so that they can refine and learn the boundaries, the social boundaries, the language, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what's tolerable, what's intolerable. There's no spoken word. There's no committee or government or gods or any of that stuff. It's just direct practicality. That sets them off. Now, imagine the case of the litter. And when they're young, I separate them. Oh, I'm scared. They need to be controlled. What I need a committee, and we need some legislations. And we need police, and we need military, we need a council, we need social workers, we need psychologists. And then I separate them all up. And I profile them and I label them. How's that ever going to work? I know I'm using it as an analogy, but it's a very strong one. Because that's the same analogy goes for the rest of sentient life that surrounds us. So what are governments really up to? Your best interests? Benevolent reasons? No. Are they fuck? They're using your gullibility, your apathy, your ignorance to benefit themselves while making your life worse. At the end of the day, without government, you're still going to get scenarios. Right? Look at there's predation everywhere. In the animal kingdom, there's an equilibrium. Right? The lions, who are more powerful, will prey on a wildebeest and slaughter it and eat it. But in the very same situation, if the rest of the wildebeest decide, nah, that's not happening anymore. Just like if there was a rapist or a murderer within our own community, and the rest of the wildebeest say, oh, fuck you, lion, that's not happening anymore. Do you think that the pride of lions is going to hang about while 10,000 wildebeest stampede them to fucking death. No. They're going to put their tail between their legs and fucking run. Well, but what if the lions can convince the wildebeest that they're incapable of living life by themselves? Therefore, the lions have decided that they're going to rule over them. And all complex than just realising the basic idiocy of the acceptance and, even worse, the want of government. So, just like I said, 10,000 wildebeest, every now and again one of them gets picked off by a pride of lions. Now inevitably that's going to happen. But as communities, sticking together, doing what's right, doing what has to be done, looking out for each other, alleviating each other of any stresses, anxiety, traumas, right? The lions or the predator is going to have second fucking thoughts about ever daring trying to come into your community and pick anybody off. All it takes is a switch in your thinking to realise that they are a minute few. I mean, look at this. This is what set me off. This fucking marbles in his mouth, stuttering fucking buffoon. Billard, Boris, I'm a Billingdon boy. You're a fucking scrawny wee weasel, son. Same as every other wee gimpy fuck that's aligned with you. Absolute fucking scumbags. Look at this Cretonius fucking bum sniffer. Listen to this.
I meet my friends and family members indoors.
Can I now, please? Oh, please, you fucking absolute reprobate cunt sniffer. Please may I see my friends and family indoors? They're laughing at how fucking pathetic and weak you are.
If they are vaccinated, and there I'm afraid the answer is no.
And there I'm afraid the answer is no. What a fucking puppet cartoon this cretin is. He is squirming and he's uncomfortable knowing the lines that he's crossing here. Let's look at this again. Vaccinated. Remember Dick Sniffer here appearing on morning TV professing that, oh, calm down everybody. We're not concerned. We're only concerned about the elderly and the vulnerable, as we are every fucking year. The majority need not bother. You probably won't even notice that you've had the sniffles. How did we go from that to this fucking cunt stain? Making decisions and trying to tell you that you cannot go and visit your friends and family after you've been vaccinated. What is all this about vaccines? Huh? This thing's got a 99.5% survival rate. It's that fucking evil that you have to be tested to see if you've got it. And the majority, if you do get whatever the fuck it is, you'll be fine. Right? So they've done all this to the world and then saying about vaccines, made a big fucking stink about vaccines. And then they've got the cheek to tell you that the vaccines don't really do anything. Therefore, don't visit your elderly granny. Let her rot and fucking die alone. Because some wee fucking jumped up snooty nosed fucking posh twat decided.
Because we're not yet at that stage. We're still very much in a world where you can meet friends and family outdoors under the rule of 6.
We're still very much in the world where you can and you can't do this. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is what happens when you don't hold these fucking cock ends to account. Right? Who the fuck of these pricks to ever fucking dare try and tell you and I or anybody how they can or cannot live their fucking life. This is what I'm talking about. Maintain the infrastructure, prick. Get the fucking marbles out your mouth, get the dildo out your fucking arse and sort yourself out, you scrawny wee cunt, you.
Or two households, and even though your friends and family members may be vaccinated, the vaccines are not giving you 100% protection, and that's why you just need to be. So
what's the fucking point then, arsewipe? Let's just get back and watch his squirmy wee fucking uncomfortableness, right?
There, I'm afraid the answer is no, because...
The answer is no! Don't know if anybody's ever seen fucking, what do you call it, spitting image. You wouldn't even need a prosthetic cartoon puppet. Just prop that wee fucking dick squeeze onto the screen. And then you've got a whole show of fucking pathetic idiocy.
We don't think that they entirely reduce or remove the risk of transmission.
Right. So then you're getting it straight for the fucking horse's mouth. If you get the vaccine, it doesn't remove the risk of transmission. So, what's all this pantomime about again? Again, people are under this fucking illusion that they think it's for the benefit of their health and because the government loves them. I think you better start asking questions about what is this actually about. Because here's the thing, right? Oh, the government's concerned about your health. So, let's put it in perspective. The government's in cahoots and in unison, who are all supposed to be independent governments, by the way, but we'll forget about that. All decide to lock down their countries, their economies, people's businesses, people's hobbies, people's private lives, for an imaginary, invisible body snatcher known as the flu, and made this fucking big stink about it. See, if they really had your interests at heart, they would have stopped the world a long time ago. And we still could. To alleviate trauma, suffering, angst, anguish, pain, murder, slavery, sex trafficking. These things are a much bigger threat to human beings because they have repercussions like a butterfly effect. The amount of murders, horrific things happening to children left, right and fucking centre. Poverty, homelessness, drug addiction. Why are we not stopping the world to fix all these problems? If you really think you're altruistic and heartfelt and wholesome and all that, and your government loves you. If they can go to this extent for the flu, you should be asking your questions about why they're not highly triggered to stop the world, to stop the wars, stop the famines, stop the poverty, hunger, homelessness, all that stuff. But that just seems to get right near the top of people's head, where they're just told to focus in on this coronavirus pish flaps and debating with themselves about the government and how wholesome they are because they're trying to save me from a deadly cold. They don't give a fuck when they're dropping bombs on people or using chemicals. They don't give a fuck that they've allowed mass accumulation of enormous wealth to a tiny minority, while the vast majority of people live in squalor, stress, anxiety. And that has a cascading effect down through families, down to children, who then it becomes generational, and they're into this fucking schism. And they're perpetuating and carrying it on to their children, and everybody's running about in a big mess, a big rat race. stampeding over the top of each other to try and grasp at this, perfect life of wealth and stature. But it's alright, because all these people have got the opportunity to fucking, perform their virtue signalling. That they're wholesome good peoples. Because you put a fucking face nappy on and get jagged for fuck all. Because you're still not allowed to go and sit with your family and friends. So, the talk about whether government has your interests at heart or not is fucking over. Because as I say, you should be asking yourself the questions, well, if we stop the whole world for the cold, then we better begin by stopping the whole fucking world and addressing every other fucking problem that we have. Problem number one, government, politicians. Snap their fucking necks if they don't wind them in. And then we move on and eradicate and fix the problems that these fucking morons have created. I could rant on and highlight a fucking infinite amount of contradictions and hypocrisy. Right? But it comes right down to the fucking very basics. There's something seriously wrong with our supposed educated, civilised peoples that still require a government. As I say, govern and control the infrastructure to make sure that it runs properly. Don't prod your fucking nose into my business and start thinking that you're mummy, daddy, God figures, right? And telling me wee narratives like you've got my best interests at heart, because that's exactly what a predator tells you. I'm always suspicious of these people with the messiah complexes that come in trying to sweep in as the white knight and tell you that they're doing stuff to benefit you and help you and yada yada. Be very suspicious. For me, I'm even contemplating, and debating with myself whether, I'm even on board with the allowance of public broadcasting at all. And if we are going to allow public broadcasting, it should only ever be for pure objectivity, for the matter of fact of the thing. Whether that be the display of artistry or creativity or an event that may have happened. But it should be choice, just like YouTube's or whatever, where I can choose what I want to go and put my attention to. No switching it on and it's fucking beamed right at me. Because the problem is with public broadcast is ideas are offered up. Sophistry takes place. Human beings and their inability to reason properly and logically assess information or knowledge, right, sends them off into a spiral of fucking belief, faith, zealotry, extremism. We should be advanced by now. I shouldn't require a screen to experience the culture of India or the culture of Iran or wherever else. The infrastructure should be there so that if I decide, well, I've made a contact in Iran and I quite like the music that they're putting out, I think I'll go there for 6 months and jam and fucking take in a bit of the sights and the culture. And I don't need a perception presented to me through a fucking screen. There think that public broadcasting should be for matter of fact and fact only, and that we should never allow subjective aspects to be broadcast to the whole. Subjective aspects should be accessed by choice. But again, herein lies the problem. People don't even understand or comprehend the difference between subjective and objective. And the governments and the media and the politicians are doing a really good job of making sure that that mix-up of subjective and objective remains and perpetuates. And they make it relevant, like gender and skin colour and all these subjective gibberish that people think they have to have some input on or lend their attention to. It's being done to create divisions in your mind, so that you then start to label yourself and identify yourself as this particular thing with these particular preferences and this heritage and this culture and this history and this patriotism. And they're just ideas. Mind viruses that the individual takes and incorporates and then becomes, and then runs about the place spouting their fucking gibberish with all sorts of illogical, contradictory, hypocritical reasons for why they are the way they are. For me, in reality, human beings, for the majority that I've experienced, they just want peace, love, acceptance, understanding, compassion, no stress, no trauma, no anxiety. We are thrill seekers. We are joy seekers. I've never met any people in my life that want to go out there to be miserable. I've never met anybody whose ambition it was to be miserable. But yet we allow misery and the structure of how misery is created to be pushed onto us, while reminding you continually that you're evil and you're bad and you need to be controlled and coerced because you're evil and bad. When you're no evil or bad, you're just like me. Easy going probably. Don't want stress. Want to love freely. Live freely. What is with the glitch above my napper? Can you see that? There's a ghost. There's a ghost behind me here. See it? It's the government. They're using remote viewing techniques that the military adapted and perfected. What you're seeing there is an apparition of the 77th Brigade, who are remote viewing It's a dead globe, yes. It's flatlined behind me. I are when they remote view me through YouTube, aye. That's real. It's ghosts, apparitions. And special, it's the angels. Because tomorrow's rapture day. They can't wait to rapture me. I'm special. I've been touched by special angels. I keep asking that. If the rapture's to start tomorrow, does that mean that it's already began in New Zealand? Is Andrew here? Maybe Andrew's been raptured already and we don't even know it. I've got to wait until the man-made construct known as time clock hits midnight before I'll get raptured, because heaven's got a cloak as well. God and the angels are sitting watching the clock going, no, don't rapture Big Del yet, because we need to wait for it to reach 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Right? Not a minute earlier, or you'll fuck up the space-time continuum and warp it and bend it so that people start believing in globes. Because that's how this stuff happens. The rapture's not a false doctrine. You're witnessing it happening right now. If you see me again on this screen, be very cautious, because I'll have been raptured. It's the devil. The devil has made a clone copy of me that he's keeping at Area 51. And as soon as I'm raptured, he's going to replace me with my clone, who's going to satanically fucking mind warp you back into believing in globes and stuffs. Of course Jesus loves me. Of course he does. I'm Jesus. How many times you got to be told? Did you really think I was going to present myself to you in a fucking white robe, a ring of fucking thorns and long hair? I'm Jesus, I've not got time to fucking comb my hair and all that shite. Right? Do you really think Jesus is that fucking shallow? Huh? That he's going to be bothering about fucking hairstyles and having to deal with fucking long hair? I mean, come on. I'm Jesus, I've not got time for all that stuff. Hair dryers and all that. I mean, Jesus was a smart guy. Jesus would have shaved it all off. Did you think I was going to present myself with a fucking halo? Huh? I'm smarter than that. I'm Jesus. I'm here to test you and test your faith and your ability to reason properly. So I've presented myself as a big fucking Scottish oaf with shaved hair and tattoos, to see if you're paying attention to what I'm actually saying rather than what you perceive, because that's the test. That's one of the tests. So far the majority are failing because they're listening to demons like Russian vids and the likes. Again, I'm Jesus. I wouldn't be that daft to wear sandals, running about the fucking desert with rocks and stones, chipping my toes and my toenail. I mean, come on. I'm Jesus. I can just magic a pair of Nike fucking running shoes out of thin air. I'm not going to be running about stones with sandals on. Watching too much TV. Failed. You failed the other test. I told you, Rocky 5. You have got a warped perception of Jesus. You have an image of Jesus that's wrong. Okay? Yes, God, the God that I'm on board with, would indeed be calling people cunts. because there are cunts amongst us. And I'm sure God, who created everything, so therefore gave me the ability to use the word cunt, which means it must have came from him, or it. So you can bet your fucking arse that it uses the word cunt. Probably not in a direct spoken term. It's probably got some other way of telling you you're a cunt. But still gave me the ability to say cunt. Therefore, acceptable. Correct me if I'm wrong. Creator of all, gave rise to every fucking bloody thing. All possibility, all potentiality. So cunt is a heavenly word. Again, you're being tested to see how faulty your reasoning is.
So sorry to be a pest, but do you have any change to give the driver? He's just coming
You're
out
just
now.
here to fleece me again. See, even Jesus gets fleeced off the woman. There's a reason why in the Bible I told you that the woman was a fucking snake. I've not got any change.
Oh, God,
Sorry.
You're
You're just going to have to put up with him calling you a miserable cunt. So as I was saying, I told you in the Bible that the woman is the serpent. Right? All she wants to do is fucking fleece you for everything you've got. Again, you never paid any attention. You invented shite called marriage. Right? You were fucking warned. See, this is the whole point, right? All these people that talk about God and what God wants and what God doesn't fucking want. At the end of the day, you have to concede that your God thing gave rise to everything. Everything. So what makes you so insecure and needy that you feel you have to shut down or control or eradicate some aspect of the infinite and the eternal? Little old you, running about judging and making a mockery of God's fucking creation. That includes me and all the psychopaths and all the fucking deviants. Can you not just accept, right, that you are you are what you are, I am what I am, and so is all the rest. And just fucking live and let live. Walk your path, protect yourself when you need to protect, or do what you need to do for you. Make your choices, stand your ground, define yourself, and let the rest be what it is. Is it that fucking difficult? No, the churches were opportunists. They shat on the God, the Great Father's fucking works. Right? By warping your mind into making you think that you had to behave a certain way other than being true to yourself. Because that's what the Father thing wants. That right? Of course I'm right. I'm Jesus. Of course, AB, I'll speak to anybody. If anybody requests and anybody wants to have a chat with me, then of course I will. You love me, Arwen? I love you too. I love everything. It's a very, 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 it's flung around very easily, that word love, isn't it? The thing is for me is to replace that with accept. Accept you for what you are and accept everything else for what it is. Put your attention to what you decide. Follow through with your intention. Make things happen. Walk your walk. And just stop judging everybody else. Well, it's that belief that makes me true. So if nobody believed in the Del Boy Jesus, then I wouldn't exist, according to some people, because it's all about belief. Right, I've fucking rambled for a long time here. How long have I been on? 71 fucking minutes. 71 minutes. Right. Hope I've blown your mind. I mean, you've just had fucking Jesus talking to you. I lovingly accept you also, Tanya. I'm sick and tired of us all thinking that we have a bad intention towards each other, and I have been hugely guilty of that in the past, and probably still to this day, where I, keep myself very closed and guarded. But I don't want to be closed and guarded. I don't want to live in a world where I have to be closed and guarded. That's it, face the consequence. Again, if people think that they're going to be judged when they leave this thing, then each to their own. Right? And if I'm going to be judged, then whatever. Judging me on what? What would be an acceptable judgment for you? What would you think would be acceptable to be judged on? Huh? What is it that qualifies you to get into through these pearly gates or whatever goes on in your imagination? So again, if I'm going to be judged, what would I want to be judged on? Was I always honest with myself? Because that's all that really matters. Was I being true to myself? Was I critical in my awareness to what was going on about me? Does any of that even matter? Again, I've spoke about this before, this idea of this experience that we call life right now having some sort of meaning that transcends this, and that's where it breaks down for me. Because again, even speaking to the religious people, and even in an intellectual capacity, just discussing life and reality, and if we agree upon that the only thing that can be true is that this is constructed, this is not the true reality. True reality for me must be something infinite and eternal. There is no way to reason your way to thinking that life, reality came from nowhere and no thing. That's preposterous. So, if you accept that, whether you're religious or coming at it from some other philosophical position, that there is no other way to look at it than the infinite, the eternal, and we use these words without the ability to really comprehend that. And again, I wouldn't ever want to be able to comprehend it, because what am I going to do with that? But if we agree and we accept that what we come from is infinite and eternal, then you understand and comprehend that if it's infinite and eternal, nothing new can be added and nothing can be taken away. Which means that regardless of what's happening in here, already has happened and is happening eternally, perpetually. You are strapped in just like a roller coaster. And you can turn your head, you can look up, left, right, down, you can tell yourself all sorts of fancy imaginative things about the meanings and purposes to the experience of going on the roller coaster. But one thing's for sure, that has a set destination. The only purpose of it was the thrill, the experience of. There is nothing that can transcend to the point of changing, adding something or taking something away from the infinite and the eternal. It's a preposterous, contradictory position to hold. So you really need to stop with this nonsense and gibberish about judgment and punishment and blah blah blah. And the final destination is when you die, Arwen. That's the set out track of the roller coaster. It begins and it comes full circle and it ends. I'm not saying that you don't move on to some other experience, like some other ride in the amusement park. What I'm saying is that you can't transcend this by placing meaning on it other than the experience. That's the only thing that makes any sort of rational, logical sense to me. And again, people can disagree, but in your disagreement you must have the ability to, have that discussion and offer up your reasoning for why you would hold the position that you have. Because right now, for me, in my mind, the position that I have is solid. But because of what goes on in this world, and in particular modern times, a lot of it's horrific, a lot of it's hard work, anguish, stress, which can be altered and changed by putting your attention to it. But people don't want to do that. They're too lazy and apathetic. So they would rather remove their attention from this, the actual reality that they're in and are part of right now, and play the victim mindset. And that as long as they walk this certain path, they're going to get rewarded by the big honcho. Yes, escapism and escapism enabling is an epidemic. Exactly right. Exactly right. But it's all this sort of psychological framework that people adopt onto themselves that allows the dysfunction or the shit life or way of life that we have presented in front of us right now. Because you're constantly being told that you have to abstain from any sort of activity, that you're just a fucking cretin, you don't have the ability to think or be a decent human being, you need an external authority, an external power, and that just keeps going right up to the figurehead, the godhead. That's the framework, the psychological framework that they have, the majority of people within. Your time is now. You're in this experience now. What's relevant and what matters is what you partake in and what you put your attention in and achieve here and now. Nothing to do with transcending the experience to some other fucking imaginary place. Joseph, I don't need principles from some imaginary realm. Again, it's self-identification. I have principles, I have morals, ethics, the way I walk, the way I live my life, based on my reflection, based on being true to me. I was never brought up with any sort of formal religion or, any of these sort of practices. I grew up in a different environment, different circumstances and events that went on that, and again, I don't know if you just have an essence and that's it. That your essence is what you are, and it's up to you to identify that essence and be true and embrace what you actually are, rather than running about hiding and trying to delude and convince yourself that you have to be something else. I'm no me because of the fear of some imaginary thing. This, again, is the type of mindset that allows government. That you're incapable of your own affairs and sorting your own shit out. I mean, possibly, AB, possibly. Maybe there's a caste system, as I said about the essence or souls. Maybe there's only so many. And in any given experience that we enter into, there is only a portion of, infinite eternal souls. And the rest are just drones to make up the numbers, so that we don't get fed up and bored. Possibly. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a fact. It's just a notion that I'm entertaining. We don't know. That's the whole point. We know nothing about why we're here, how it came to be, any of that stuff. Every single one of us is in the same position. The only thing that I can do is take in what's been presented to me. Ideas, concepts, stories, blah blah blah. Process them, reflect on them, play with them, find contradictions, break them, and move on. I don't need to incorporate any sort of belief structure from any idea or concept. I don't feel the need to relate to some falsity. I'm quite comfortable and happy standing on the ground of I do not know. I hear many, many stories, interesting philosophies and ideas, but I don't need to adopt them and place any relevance or belief on them. Johnny Rico, I would say so. But traumas in youth and dysfunction sent me on a spiral into, self-doubt, insanity, depression, for a long, long time. But I did maintain aspects of that throughout. And I don't know if that's what got me to the other side of, the mental illness. But I've always been aware of myself. I've got memories from being in the cot. And I know that might be hard for some people to believe, but it's true. And I've always had a sense of me. I've always been self-aware and aware of my surroundings and asking the questions. And I always struggled and wondered why the vast majority of the people that I was interacting with as children and as adults never ever had the same questions. But again, that's just me. It's not a judgment on them. Dr. John D, I am. Thank you. Same to yourself. Dr. John D does some great work. Channel people should check out. It was in the comments there. She got helicopters. I also remember the cot. I told my elders in what room it was placed and at what place, and it was an unusual place that you wouldn't guess. I'm the very same. She got helicopters. I can visually see the house, the position of the rooms, where the cot was. I can even remember breaking the bottom of the cot to get out and crawling through the living room, and that can be told by, family, that's indeed what happened. I even had the ability when I was younger. We used to travel to Germany, but in my mind I could visually orientate myself. So I remember as a kid lying in my bed and knowing the position of my bed and its position in relation to my bed at home. And I had these kind of thought patterns and thought processes from a very young age. And again, when I reflect back on that, I was always perceiving a plane. When I was in Germany, I was, positioning the bed and where I was lying in relation to my bed at home across the plane. But again, never made that connection as a child. It's only when you reflect on it. Hello, John Davidson. Hope you're well. Another channel there people should check into. So many channels, and I've said it before, but it's not really my place to push other channels, particularly when I don't fully know them and I don't know what avenue they're going to go in, so I've kind of refrained from that in the past. But there's a lot of good people out here that I probably should list and put up there for anybody that comes here that would probably find interest or something useful from these channels. Again, I'm still caught in the earlier days when there was a lot of fucking manipulation and a lot of game playing and characters going on, right? But it seems to have been diluted a lot. There's a lot more influx of genuine, real people, and to be honest, I've kind of lost touch. P900 Cool Pics and forget the channel. I keep meaning to catch up with people, and again, I'm not being ignorant. I just get caught up in putting my attention to getting through days and not getting bogged down by too much contemplation. I found myself recently in a position where I just want to be creative again and construct and design and play music and whatever. Again, never ever losing sight of the relevance and importance of this question, and also we don't really know where we are, but again, I indulge, I partake in things that bring me joy. Playing the guitar, creating, fixing things, doing stuff with the children, going a walk with the dog. I still nitpick and take parts that I know give me satisfaction. But again, as a whole, I still don't accept the place. I don't embrace the whole thing as any sort of relevant, thing that I hold dear to, I still consider this whole thing an abomination as the whole, with aspects that I can cherry pick and take satisfaction and joy out of. Anyhow, I digress. Andy Borthwick, of course. I missed you guys the last time. Aye, sure, Henry, and that's all done because we're in bewilderment. We don't have any proper foundation or grounding to know where we are, what this place is and our role within it. And all these ideologies are offered to us that tell us to take it seriously, to behave a certain way, to, whatever, other than just live and let live and be creative and live stress free. That you can see the whole structure of that. And again, for me, a lot of it is centred around making sure that we're psychologically and physically constrained so that we don't ever wander and find the outer reaches of this plane and what else may be there. Hello? What's up? Yes, that's Papa. Hang on, Morgan, because I'm on live right now. I'll phone you back later. Right, bye. Right, where was I? I've fucking rambled long enough. Does anybody want to speak to me? Would you like to have a conversation with Jesus? You can let me know in the chat box. We're all good, John Davison. You know how it is, mate. At least we had some sunshine today, so that always makes life better. Having the sun is so therapeutic and something that a lot of people take for granted because they have it a lot. Whereas you know as well as I do here in Scotland, it's like fucking, it comes once a month maybe. I was thinking about where we are, interestingly, is where we are relative to where we are not. Well, I don't really know what you mean by that, Dr. John D. One thing's for sure is that we're not right now experiencing true reality. For me anyway, it's a construct. So, people will call it a hologram, a fucking, what's that word again? Fucking mind just went blank. What do you call that? A simulation. But, you can label it any way they want, and they can try and depict it any way they want. Again, if we agree that it's a construct, it's a creation, that tells me that this is not the true reality. True reality lies out with this. True reality gives rise to this, permeates it, moves through it, encompasses it. I don't know where you were going with that. Interesting to have a chat sometime about your thinking. I told you before, I'm Jesus. I'm no daft. These people that think Jesus would be daft enough to wear sandals, come on. Exposed toes. Snafu, how's it going? Scott. Anyway, I was asking the question, does anybody want to speak to me? Thank you, Tanya. Warrior. Warrior of the world. Brilliant. Cheese metal at its finest. If you've never heard it, it is absolutely exquisitely fucking brilliant. Orgasmic ears. Right? Man of War. Warriors of the world. That should be your fucking anthem. Everywhere across the plane. It's high quality cheese. I can tell you that. High quality. The finest of cheese. Did anybody want to speak to me? Stallion, what's this? If you are, then where's stigma? What have I missed here? What? What am I missing? I don't get that. That's went... My mind might be somewhere else and I've lost relevance to that point. That split toe setups you're doing, you quite fancy a pair of them. I think they look cool. I see. Exactly, Andrew Boyle. Exactly. I have one question. Many times you state then we can't relate on history, geeks and so on, but in Snafu interview you said people depicted a flat earth. Well, that's only to, make the point to people that in their, history, it's shown to them that these depictions and these are supposed ancients and whatever, and what their depictions were. I was making the point that if they're buying into all that, then it's the globe that's the new kid in town. Well, they try and profess that it's 2,000 years old, this, and the ancient Greeks were fucking mesmerising in their intelligence, this, that and the other, but they just got it wrong. We're no the centre of the universe and the Earth's a globe. So I can see why you would think that, but if you know me, I wasn't saying it like I was using it as any sort of point to back my position, and I probably should have worded it better by articulating that that was the context and what I was meaning by it, I am not a number, I am Jesus, Lord Flashheart. Stigmata, alright. You mean the marks? I'm Jesus. Do you think they're going to crucify me? Fucking nails and all that through me. Fucking whipped fuck out me. Right. And then I miraculously come back to life and you think I'm going to have scar marks? I mean, come on. Come on, really? There's a down of pressure, there's directionality. Winston, there's directionality. We are orientated with some sort of Cartesian reference. Every single one is. And it doesn't matter what any one of us are. We all know when we're horizontal or vertical or off of any of those, lines. Every single one is. chart. I don't know what lady you're talking about, Andrew Boyle. I've no preference to closed system or more land. I mean, it's I would like to know more, find out more about, you know, if there's any constraints, limitations to this place and what's beyond it. If there is anything, you know, can we get out? Is, you know, I'm just curious. I don't have a preference, as I said so many times. I don't care what it is, you know, and I don't have a bias to what it is. I just want to know it for what it is. That's it. It's been about for a while, Leon Stone, that the moon's an old sun. I did, Tanya. I think I might get back to that. You know, taking the old Bible and going through, you know, parts of it and just seeing what I think as I read it. Put my phone number up on the screen. There's a people want to phone. Is it that one? Is that it? You need to wait a minute till I get the phone out and all that stuff. Right, let's see if it's got a charge in it. It's got a charge, two bars on the charge. Right, phone is on. I should what? Is that reading the Bible? Hello?
Hello there, Bill.
Who's this?
It's John Davidson, the Blaring pensioner.
How are you, John?
I'm alright. Does this work with a lag here? Because I can't see you talking to me.
Aye, don't pay attention to YouTube because I think there's about a 30-second.
Right, that was rather confusing there.
Aye.
Well, one of the things I wanted to tell you there directly was, remember I sent you an email a while back about it was okay to use clips from your material and you said, yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Well, you'd be interested to know that I took two of your clips.
Yep.
And it was for the same live stream.
Right.
However, I put the first one on, and guess what happened?
What?
Zing! Mr. YouTube jumped in and pulled your image and your sound right off of my screen share.
So that's the thing, John. They don't want Jesus getting his message about, you know.
Yeah, but here's the point I made to the audience. This is a man who is derided as being some kind of lunatic, and you would think that having labelled him such, that why would they bother then if I then take this man's clips and put them on my live stream? Why is he so dangerous?
Yeah. Exactly, mate. Exactly.
And the other thing that was interesting about that, Bill, and as you already know, I'm not too well up on the technology of how it all works. But from that moment when they whipped that clip off, I couldn't share screen at all for the rest of the live stream.
You get a bug in your system, John.
Yeah, Mr. YouTube is the bug in the system.
Right.
It was because what you were saying,
Yeah.
that was the point. It was because you were saying the things that I daren't say.
Right. Well,
And it was something to the effect that instead of moaning and groaning, people should get up and go off to Edinburgh and do something.
yeah. That's what they don't want. As long as people are just fucking shouting about it, you know, and
Yeah.
marching in the
And of course,
streets.
I like your presentational style when you're in that slightly heated session. I thought this is ideal for the audience. You're going to give it to them. Straight on. And the minute you started that, whoosh, off it went.
Wow. Aye.
But I tell you, dear, I would take that as a compliment, my friend.
Oh well, I don't really think about any of it, John. You know, but YouTube have been at this kind of thing for a long time, mate. You know.
Yeah, I know.
All these.
That's what I was saying to the audience. And yet, they label this guy as some kind of lunatic, but he is still dangerous.
Aye, that's it. I mean, I just stopped paying attention to YouTube and their shenanigans a long time ago. You know, these noobs that think that it's a new thing. You know, I mean, people like myself for 6 years now have been experiencing this. You know.
I know that, Dale, and I've been watching your channel on and off, as you know, for a long time.
Yeah.
As I explained when you were on my stream. So I know you're absolutely correct in what you say, and because I have been watching YouTube for about 15 years, I've seen it all over the place. Anyone who starts speaking anything that even sounds slightly dangerous to the status quo, you know, they just clamp down on them right away.
Of course,
No
mate.
matter where their take starts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And I just wanted you to know that.
I appreciate it, John. Hope you're all well anyway, mate. You know.
Oh, yeah, well, do the best we can.
You had your vaccine yet?
So, I'll be celebrating my 75th birthday very soon.
I was going to say, John, have you had your vaccine?
I'm not taking that. Please.
You're 75, you should have died then, according to these fucking lunatics.
Listen, I'm going to tell you a true story, right? And this is for the benefit, but not just for yourself, but for your audience, right?
Right.
My mother is 95. She's still alive. She's still well. Unfortunately, she suffers from dementia, and we were forced to put her into a care home, which was carefully chosen, and she's in a good one. However, she's brightened up like a bunny rabbit running about at 95. Somebody in there supposedly got this in the care home that she's in and passed away, and this person was younger than her.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because she's in a care home, she's forced to take the job, and we couldn't do anything about it because it was logical what would happen. If she didn't get it, they would make her leave, and then no one else would take her in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I don't like.
No.
I don't like that aspect of it, that coercion.
Yeah, that's it. It's being coerced. And it's the same for all these people that talk about vax, anti-vax, pro-vax. Look, it should just be choice. This is the whole fucking point that people are missing. It should never be mandated or coercion like this talk of passports and you're going to lose your job or you can't go here or can't go there. That's just fucking tyranny. That's fascism. You know, it should be choice for people. You know?
Absolutely, though. Absolutely. And on top of all of that, I can say for a fact that the people who are working in that particular home, like all of them, they're all being coerced the same way.
Yeah, exactly, mate. That's a cascade effect from.
Yeah, and in order for my sister to go and visit my mother, she has to take a test, a COVID test, wait half an hour, and see if it's okay before she can get in for half an hour.
It's fucking
wearing a
ridiculous.
mask.
Absolutely fucking preposterous, mate.
And what makes it even more aggravating, in my mother's particular case, though, she's pretty well deaf, so you've got to be right up close to her, and you've really got to be shouting before she can hear you, you know? And you're wearing a mask,
Yeah, exactly, mate. It's,
and you're not allowed to touch them.
I know. You know, it's astounding that people have got a fear of this invisible nonsense, yet these government officials and politicians who are the worst criminals of the fucking lot, people's attention never turns to that. They should be scared of these fucking dipshits rather than some imaginary fucking body snatcher. You know?
Absolutely. Spot on, my friend. Spot on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave you and leave you there with your
No worries.
and we'll speak again soon, my friend. I must have you back on the live stream at
Aye.
some point.
Anytime, John.
Right, okay, my
All right,
friend.
bud.
Keep in touch.
I'll pay you a visit soon because the weather's better now, you know.
Oh, that would
Okay.
be grand. Down with your bike.
Aye, of course.
Brilliant, man.
All right, mate.
Absolutely brilliant.
All right.
Look forward to that one. Speak to you soon then, Bill.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yeah, you too.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye. Right, if anybody else is going to ring in, you're going to need to wait. I need to go for a piss. Right. I think I'm coming to the point of winding down here and getting off. Person like a boss. That's right. Yes, I do. AB, it's been the same from the very beginning. The only one that talks in that manner, because that's the only position that people can really be in if you're being real and honest with yourself, is that exploration is required. And these people that profess themselves to be truthers and intellects who continually ignore that position and do not promote that position, I have serious suspicions of. Right, because it's the strongest position to be in. You're not professing any sort of model or concept of Earth to have to put up with debates and arguments from other cult zealots. It's the true position, the truth. Make from that what you will. Well, of course, there is other people who make that statement and I think it's wrong to generalise and say I'm the only one that holds that position. There are other people who hold that position. That, I mean, I'm getting stuck again in referring to, coming into this. Obviously, there's people that work on possibilities of the dimensions of the earth, the workings of the luminaries and whatever else, but they always, put the disclosure in front of that in reality we don't really know, we require exploration. I've even seen Eric Dubai has been saying that as well, still, offering the possibility of what it could be. But without that statement that we really don't know and it has to be explored, and you get these people who are pushing, as a fact or a given that it's this model or that model, then there's something seriously wrong there. So apologies to anybody that took that the wrong way, that I'm the only one. I don't mean it like that. I am all that. I'm Jesus, so fuck it. Aye. But you know what I mean. They like attacking me. They like it. Well, I do put myself up there as a target, don't I? With my mannerisms and my approach. Right, I think I have rambled. Maybe I've offered you something, who knows. It's always good for me as well to do this when I see things that get me annoyed or frustrated, and it also brings more clarity to my own thinking and identification. So if you get anything out of this, then excellent. If you didn't, excellent. Whatever it may be, that's for you. So I've got nothing else left to say. Oh. I'm just getting this chat to move. Aye, cheers to you people. Sorry, somebody was trying to phone me there. Phone back, quick. I'll wait for the delay. I'll give you 20 seconds. No, nobody phoned back. Right, I'm off ski pops this time. Happy Easter to you, thank you very much. Thank you. I don't really like chocolate, so don't bother buying me fucking Easter eggs. I like vehicles, I like motorbikes preferably. I also like cars, or any form of vehicle. So rather than buying me, fucking chocolate eggs, or boiled eggs, right? Jesus doesn't want any of that. Or crucifixes or any of that stuff. No. Ferraris and motorbikes. Take it easy, people.